What's in your mind for you and for I? I'm trying to decide from the look in your eyes, yeah. I mean besides, but your feelings inside you. I'm messing up.
Inside the RV, episode 12, baby. Let's go.
We out here.
Episode 12. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Inside the RV. This is episode 12. This is a podcast about entrepreneurship, self-improvement, business, improving your work ethic, success, trying to become the best version of yourself. I am Jacob Moore, artist manager, aspiring artist manager, trying to build a career in the music industry. I'm here with my man, Ryan Ramirez.
I'm Ryan Ramirez. What's up, artist? That's all I gotta say.
Just an artist. You're
I'm
like,
just an
I'm
artist.
just an artist. Are you a painter?
I'm no. I cannot draw
Comedian?
or paint. No, I don't do much comedy. I'm a music artist, R&B artist, pop, you could say, a little bit of pop. Yeah, I just love to make music, man.
I forget that we're getting new listeners, new YouTube subscribers, which is cool. Thank you to everyone who's been rocking with us since episode 1. We're on episode 12, so that's 12 weeks. So there's the little intro for everyone who's just hopping on, soon to be the bandwagon, soon to be the best number 1 on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be a long way until we get there. I think it's possible.
For sure.
As our journey progresses and everything. Oh, man, episode 12, what to talk about. I just want to preface this by saying that to everybody listening, and I was even explaining this to Ryan, so for all you people out there, whether you're a mother, an aspiring businesswoman, a person working an entry-level position, someone who's barely making ends meet, whatever it is, whoever the hell you are, or maybe someone who just wants to improve in some sort of area, whatever it is, I come on here and I preach a lot about success and this work ethic and all these things that I'm so passionate about. I've been slacking. I really have been. Yeah, I have not been living up to the standard that I have set for myself. And I feel like a hypocrite, honestly. And it's been a pretty brutal couple weeks personally for me. There's just been a lot going on in my personal life, and also on top of that, I have fun in what I call my professional life, trying to be a music manager. Being a music manager, not trying. I am an independent music manager, so that to me is fun. I enjoy that, but there's been a lot of stuff going on in my personal life that has made me dread doing what I love. It's made me dread even working out. I love working out, even riding BMX. Like, it's made me not want to hit up my friends. It's just, there's just a lot of stuff going on. And so I
feel like misaligned.
I completely I felt misaligned. Now I feel like I'm on one, and I feel a lot better. The past 3 days, Friday, Saturday, today is Sunday. So including today, the past 3 days have been phenomenal. And that's because I have taken these demons that I have, this negativity, these things inside me. Number one, which have been propagated by external forces. But number two, that I just haven't really taken control of for one reason or another. So I've let those demons, those negative traits really get to me and bring me down. And so you know what I said? And this goes out to everyone listening. You're going to feel like crap. And I've said it a million times. You're going to have these days. You're going to have the ups and downs, the peaks and the valleys. Okay, we've heard it all before, right? You're going to have the peaks and the valleys. The bottom line, and we say this a lot, is you have to take action. And gosh, it's so hard sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, man, yes, I'm on one right now. In the past 2 days I have been. But, dude, like the past 3 weeks prior to that, I have been in the dumps. And I took some time off. My brother got married in Arizona. Congrats to Kyle and Jess, my brother and new sister-in-law. So that was cool. I got to have a refresher. And we've talked about the importance of like refreshers. I think we talked about that with Sticks a little bit. And even in the last episode, but that's what I want to tackle today is like, so you've got these demons, you got these bad traits or things, however those traits may have came about. And, I come on here and I say, hey, take action. Hey, easier said than done. Because I just lived that. It took me weeks to get back. I haven't done, the music manager stuff that I've set up for myself. Those standards that I've set for myself, the consistency that I want, I just haven't been doing it. So I thought, hey, the point of this is that we're entrepreneurs who are up and coming, and as the BS happens and all these bad things happen, we can tell it to you in real time. This isn't something that happened to me 10 years ago or whatever. I'm telling you a story. I just lived this.
In real time, and it's like, it's the truth. It's just being honest.
It's totally being honest.
Because, not to cut you out, but especially because like social media and everything, everyone, it's a highlight reel for everybody. But I think it's cool to have a platform, where we can just talk about like, yo, shit's not going good. Shit's going south. We're on one, but now we're not.
Yeah.
we're back on, you know what I'm saying? Like just to have that journey documented so that way like the next kid, you know, years from now is like, oh, like he went through that too. Like, okay, this is how we got through it. This is what their mindset was like.
Yep.
You know, so.
Yeah. And that freshness, the crisp freshness of like, hey, we just experienced it. Just burped, excuse me. The crisp, the freshness of it just happening, I think is very valuable, because right now, like my thoughts are just going, they're very fresh, and I'm able to come up with all these ideas because it just happened to me. So, you know, I number one, I want to say that, so putting the music manager thing aside and the music artist, like I've said, hey, this is for the mothers out there. This is for the dads. This is for people younger than us, older than us, whatever. This is for the entrepreneurs. This is for the BMX riders, the skaters, the football players. This is for everybody. It doesn't like put that identity away for a second and just think, hey, this is just for people, right? So if you're trying to, you know, elevate yourself and be successful no matter what you identify as or whatever it is, this is for you. So I'm excited. So I've got some notes and stuff. So that's kind of the first thing I want to talk about, is to get out of that rut of feeling like complete crap. I had to make these notes and identify what exactly was causing me to be in such a negative state. That's crucial. I think so. You have to face your demons, right? And that's a thing that not a lot of us want to do. Hey, the past 4 podcasts, and I'm going to just put this out there. If you thought the past couple podcasts were pretty shitty on my end, I'd agree with you. I think you were running those podcasts. You were killing it, dude.
I disagree, dude. I literally think that we both like contributed like an equal amount. Like, I'm not bullshitting you. Like, I think that's all in your head. I think you're just in your head right now because you've been kind of feeling like shit, like you said.
Yeah.
Like, I disagree with that.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate it. And that's why it's good to have a good team that'll boost you up and be honest with you and stuff. So thank you for the honesty. But for my own self-reflection, I don't think I was doing good. Okay. And I had to identify that. I was like editing the podcast and I was like, dude, and even walking out of the podcast with Sticks and stuff, it's like Sticks provided so much valuable, great information. And I was just having like a confidence issue. There were these negative things happening and whatever. And I just really let it get to me. So thank you for saying that my lack of performance was still good. You know, like, hey, it's like, okay, cool. I appreciate that. But yeah, let me just get back to the point. So number one, I had to identify the negative things. So I started to do that, and I faced my demons and began to identify the negative traits about me. And I want to say negative traits and demons in this conversation are interchangeable. I think if you have a bad trait, I was telling Ryan earlier, my demon is laziness. I get very lazy. I'll be motivated. I'll sit there all day and have ideas, but my demon is laziness. So that was the trait that I identified and everything. And I did that by literally writing it down on these notes and coming up with the framework for this podcast. So I'm going to just kind of dive into these notes,
do it.
Interject, do your thing.
Yeah, man.
So when it comes to facing your demons, I think everybody should understand that no matter who you are, you have a bad trait. What you deem is a bad trait.
Yeah.
Right? Like I just told Ryan, oh, I wasn't performing in the podcast. Like that was a bad trait to me. But to him, he was like, no, you were doing fine. But in my own self-reflection, I identified a bad trait. I think that was laziness, which resulted in a lack of performance. Not in the bedroom, in the podcast. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Just had to clarify that.
Yeah, just had to clarify that. A lack of performance in the podcast. And that can be difficult because you know who you want to become. The whole time I was lacking in performance, and I had these demons in this negative. I knew who I wanted to be. I knew who I wanted to become.
Okay, and see, I think that's where self-confidence is created.
Okay.
That people know, like subconsciously, we all know it, but it's like that's the make or break. Like I always say this, like I'm all for affirmations and like positive thinking. Actually, the quote I'm going to talk about in this book today is from like a thinking book. It's not really work ethic, but I still think that at the end of the day, your self-confidence is based on the promises you keep to yourself. And I remember Ed Milet said that in the podcast.
Yes.
He was like, the promises that you keep to yourself, in the back of your head, you know, I got to be doing, like, this is who I want to be. And if you're not living up to that expectation on a day-to-day basis, then it's like, you're not really going to truly feel confident because you're not hitting that mark, you know? So not to cut you off.
I totally agree. And I want to say, check out Ed Milet if you guys haven't. He's number one, a great guy. He's a man of God. He's an insane inspirer. I think he said he likes to inspire, not motivate.
And he looks like a beast too.
He looks like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he looks like a beast.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like when I'm like, he's probably in his 40s. Like when I'm his age, I want to be like him. He's dope. Ed Milet.
That's hard.
Facing your demons, you have a bad trait, right? You've identified it, or you're working to identify it. So you know what version of yourself you want to become. Me, I want to become this ultra successful music manager. I want to become an Ed Milet. I want to become a Scooter Braun or a Tim Grover. I want to become a Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In my respective arena.
Yeah.
You know what it takes to get there. I knew what it took to get there. To do a great podcast, I knew it took getting up in the morning, making this agenda, reading it over, eating good, exercising, doing things that made me feel good, that actually are good, not just like drinking or something like that. You know, doing things that elevated me. But you don't do it. So you know what it takes. You know what you want to be, but you don't do it.
Yeah.
So if you're driving around right now, or every time I'm doing this podcast, I imagine someone's like driving to work or whatever it is, or they're fucking gardening or doing whatever they want to do. If you resonate with this, you don't do it. You've got all the pieces there, but you don't do it. Why? I came up with 2 reasons personally why I thought I wasn't doing it, even though what I just prefaced everything with, I knew what it took to get there and what I wanted to become. Number 1, you're afraid to commit. Why are you afraid to commit? I was afraid to commit. This is what I narrowed it down to. You're afraid to commit. Why are you afraid of commitment? Because it can mean changing your lifestyle. And the lifestyle that you have right now is very comfortable. It wasn't comfortable for me to get up this morning. I hate getting up in the morning. I hate it. First world problem, like we're blessed to be able to sleep in totally. But it meant changing my lifestyle. So today, I flipped that. I got up early. That was a change in my lifestyle that led me to further commitment. So I got up early. I exercised. I ate good today. I actually tracked my macros today. I did my day job today and I killed it. I kept the ball rolling. My friend Nico today, he said an object in motion stays in motion. And that's true for people. Shout out to Nico for saying that, because that one sentence on the way back from our hike this morning, I was like, holy crap, that's
Uncle
so
Mo.
true. Uncle Mo, baby. Yeah. That can mean changing your lifestyle, and that could mean changing who you hang around with.
Yep.
And we talk about that all the time. People will drain your energy.
Yep.
They will drain your energy. And if you don't believe that you have an energy that you can put forth to something and you can achieve something great with that energy, you probably already lost the energy. It's probably already been sucked out of you.
Yep.
So you need to take a good look in the mirror and look at those you've been hanging out with. Look at the things that you do every day and ask yourself, is this draining my positive energy from me? So that kind of ties into the commitment. You could be afraid to commit because it's just scary.
Yep.
It's hey, we could fail. You think we haven't thought about that? You think people haven't, you think Ryan's, cousin's, friend's, neighbor, whatever, hasn't told him, yeah, man, but maybe you should, get a college degree. You think I didn't have someone talk some smack to me for getting an entrepreneurship degree? I had a guy 2 years into my college career, and I kind of thank him for this now. I don't know who he was. I was working at my job at the rec center at Cal State Fullerton. I helped him out in the locker room. I unlocked his locker because he locked himself out. We started talking about majors. He's like, yeah, I'm a finance major or whatever he was. I forget. And he was like, what's your major? And I was like, oh, I think I'm going to do entrepreneurship. And he went, oh, do you really need a degree for that? And then I don't know if he necessarily meant it to be like snide or whatever, like a negative remark, but it really made me think. I was like, damn, that's how some people view it. I'm getting kind of a risky degree, I'm getting a degree that, number 1, risk is a fundamental component of entrepreneurship. And 2, just getting the degree in general is risky in terms of the job market or whatever. So you could be afraid to commit because it's scary. I still committed on getting an entrepreneurship degree. I learned a shitload. I got a great education. I think I'm very well versed in entrepreneurship from a formal education standpoint from where I went to school. I'm proud of that. And then another thing why you might be afraid to commit is you may just not want to put in the hard work. Commitment takes hard work. Getting up this morning and exercising I hiked 7 miles this morning, got back down to can of Red Bull, worked on my day job, got my shit together for the podcast, came here. I'm probably going to be up till like 1 or 2 tonight editing the podcast, finishing my day job, writing down my goals for tomorrow, whatever. It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's paying your dues. And that can be a reason why you don't want to commit, because shit's tough, dude. I'm not going to lie. The past couple weeks have been so hard. I thought, man, if I just had my day job and I wasn't trying to be an entrepreneur or a music manager, things would be easier.
Yeah, for sure.
I make pretty good money at my day job for what I do. I think I make relatively pretty good amount of money, and I'm like, dude, I could be chilling. I make money. I live with my parents. Hey, I don't got a ton of bills. But my life would be easy. That's kind of another thing in the back of my head that makes me afraid to commit. So those are the three things to reiterate. You could be afraid to commit because it could mean changing your lifestyle, pushing people aside that are hanging out with you, that are draining your energy. It can be scary to do something new, and you may just not want to put in the hard work, okay? Here's another thing. Why you don't do it. Even though you're aware of the bad trait, you don't do it. So number one, you're afraid to commit. Number two, you're afraid of what others think. Hit me with something, Ryan, because you're really good at this.
No, I think those things are huge for sure. I think that...
Well, really quick, I'm sorry. Why would people be afraid of what others think?
I don't know. I think it's human nature, dude. I think that no matter what, you're gonna care. Like the people that say, "Oh, I don't care." I just genuinely don't care. I honestly think like human beings just by nature care what people think. And plus, like for the field we're in or whatever anybody's in, like success is based off of what others think about your company and your business because they buy from you. Sure. Right. So you do have to care to some extent, right?
Yes.
I have to care that people like my music.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, okay, but I'm going to filter through the people that don't care, right? Or who just don't like it and just find the ones that do care and do like it. So I think there's like a different mindset switch like right there that you gotta take into account. But I don't know, dude. Like I'm starting to realize like the whole hard work thing, like laziness, I think that like I feel like people just genuinely aren't it's hard for me to think that people are like naturally lazy in a way because I think that it goes deeper than that. I think that you got to have that reason to get up and do it and like have that why and that strong desire, you know what I'm saying? And the right people around you to like guard that for you with you know what I mean? I think that's kind of like what I've realized too, because every time that I get away from doing what I'm supposed to be doing, like I'm itching to get back to it. But I think for me it was like little things. Like I think the phone, like my phone, being on my phone, social media and stuff like that was draining me and that was making me lazy. So I think like, dude, I honestly feel like it's the little distractions, like technology distractions that like are the main source of like laziness. Like literally the times I wake up and I'm like, I'm not even looking at my phone until I read this chapter, until I do this and I eat this and I walk my dog or whatever. Like, and I just don't do that. Dude, like there's a stillness in the world, which is weird, but it's like, there's like some kind of, you know, like in the morning, right? There's like a stillness that like just feels good. And I think that, yeah, and it's almost like a meditation type thing. And I truly think that, you know, if you focus your mind on like one thing at a time and give it your all, like that laziness kind of goes away and shit starts to get a little more fun. I notice the times when I'm making a song or I'm dancing or whatever I'm doing and I'm going back and forth between doing it and going on TikTok and like Instagram and like, then my mind's like, fuck, like it just goes crazy. And then it makes me not want to do it. But if I just lock in, I literally put my phone in the other room or my computer or whatever it is. And like, literally I'll focus in on it. And it feels so good to just focus in on something and just do it. Like it feels like rewarding, satisfying, you know? So dude, like I'm realizing like, I think a big thing is just like the little distractions, like figure out how to get rid of distractions. Like whenever you're doing a task, like pick that task out and just go for it like full force because the reward is satisfying. You're going to want to do it more and your day, and you become a master of your time, which I heard in a podcast. It was one of Andy Frisella's podcasts too. It was talking about how like you got to own time. Don't let it own you.
Wow.
And so I realized like, okay, so today, for example, and yesterday, I limited my phone. Like all day, literally, I just like fought the urges like early on to like not go on it and everything. And literally, I found myself doing so many tasks, and I'm like, how is it only 12 o'clock right now?
Yeah,
I feel like I just own this day. Like I made time my bitch. Like it didn't make me its bitch.
Yeah.
But every time I like get distracted and shit, like you just find yourself like getting lost in it, and like you're late to things or whatever it is. So I think that That's like a big thing.
Okay. So that is leading into the next section,
cool.
which is combating the fear of committing and the fear of what others think. Let me go back a little bit because you just gave like some super crucial information on how you can combat it. I want to go back to the point of, so why don't you fix this bad trait or face this demon, whatever? Number one, you're afraid to commit. Number two, you're afraid of what others think. When you are afraid, you have to have some level of care. You said it. And I'm going to lead back into your point about eliminating distractions. This is just to preface that, to finish off the section. When you're afraid of what others think, and you have to have some level of that in order to provide a good product or service or to make sure you're doing things well. But when you let it take control over you to the point where it disables your ability to act and you're not even facing that demon or eliminating that bad trait, you're giving other people control over you.
Yeah.
You are letting your family, your friends, the hot girl from high school, she shall not be named, on Instagram that you still follow like 6 years later or whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But you're letting them have control over you because you're letting them dictate your decisions.
Dude, I think a huge point too is like, I think being organized is like probably one of the most important things. Like being organized with your time and like under, like, for example, right? Like before, we'll go back to the power list because I think it's probably one of the best tools like I've ever found. Before the power list, you know, my goal was to be a huge artist. Now, if I look at, okay, I want to be a huge artist, how do I break that down? Like if I couldn't break it down, it's just overwhelming. It's like, oh my God, like how am I going to do this? And when you get overwhelmed, that's another thing. When you get overwhelmed, then you become lazy because you feel like, oh, there's so much shit I got to do. And you feel like, oh, it's so much. And then you just like, you black out. Like your mind just like taps out, you know what I mean? But that organization of like, yo, I just got to do this and this today. Forget everything else. Forget everything else. Forget what's ahead. Just keep it in mind, but forget what's ahead. All I got to do is these couple things. Yeah. That's all I got to do. Just my mind, just focus on these things. And you realize, and you do that for a couple months and you start, that confidence starts building and it's like, oh shit, like I'm dope. Like this is actually working. And then hard work, like working hard becomes cool and fun because it's like, because that's another thing too. Like I think a huge point is that people don't believe in themselves.
100%.
And that is another reason why they don't work hard. Because they don't have that belief that they think that, oh, if I just keep doing all this hard work and shit, I'm gonna be running in a treadmill for the rest of my life and like it'll be not worth it.
Yeah.
But you can't put in all this hard work and not get results. Like you just can't.
You are capable of so much.
Yeah.
You are capable of so much. I've said it before. If you can listen to this podcast, that means you have access to the internet, which means you have access to the greatest source of information that mankind has ever been exposed to. Ever. Yeah. You can learn anything you want, okay? You can do anything you want with the knowledge that you get from the internet. So you can use that knowledge to your advantage to boost up your confidence and give you a greater way of committing. Because number one, you know that you have the knowledge and information that backs you in whatever you want to do. That right there should give you a huge fire under your ass to get going.
Yep.
And it should help your self-confidence. I just wanted to say that. I like to yell that every podcast. Okay?
Yeah, no, it's cool. And like going off the belief thing, dude, like I think the belief thing is the number one reason why people don't execute. I really believe that. Like I think, but the key to it all, which nobody tells you, but only a few people will say that, like Andy Frisella or whatever, the belief does not come before the work. The work comes before the belief. Okay. You have to kill it before you believe in yourself. Like it's not the other way around. People say like, oh, the affirmations, like you just got to believe in you and be you. And like, you know, you'll work hard and things will happen. But it's like, no, like, I'm sorry. You need to work hard first because you are going to create that confidence in yourself. Like I'm the shit. Like you're going to start killing it for the next, like for a couple months consistently. And you're going to be like, I'm the shit. Then you start actually believing in yourself and then you can carry off that. But you gotta put in that work first, you know? But they don't, like, I feel like most people don't say that, you know? It's not a sexy thing to say, you know, like most people will say, like, I feel like the positivity affirmation shit, which is crucial as well, but like that's the sexy stuff to talk about. That's like what's interesting, what people want to know.
The motivation.
Exactly. The motivation. But it's like the unsexy, uncool stuff, which is the hard truth that you need to put in that work first. all that shit will come later. The belief will come later.
And when you see how much work you can do, that will spark belief. Like when you're first starting, like let me go back, November 2018, I started Density, which was then Density Music Solutions, which was kind of an overarching independent label type firm, whatever. Now it's been niched down and everything. But I didn't have like a ton of belief. I was just kind of going blind. Like I had some belief for like a month, but then it would drop down, then whatever. But the one thing I noticed is like, hey, when I did the work and I went in there, I mean, I was working at I was working at Warner. I was working at Warner Records for a summer as an intern. And in my free time, when I had like no projects to do for my actual team at Warner, shit, dude, I was like on my phone or on my laptop, whatever, like just forcing myself to work on Density. I just made myself put in the work. I was like, dude, I'm in this environment. I'm in the middle of the music industry, whatever. I just made myself, I made like 20 spreadsheets at Warner that like we don't even use, like you and I. Like I got like contact info for A&R people from LinkedIn, whatever. I was just like, fuck it, I gotta put in some sort of work. And that like really, that was like blowing on the fire and like building it up. So I don't think they're mutually exclusive. Like belief on its own isn't going to do a thing for you. Hard work on its own isn't going to do a thing for you because you'll probably get burnt out. But it's using a mixture of those and pulling back on one and maybe pulling back on another here and then and getting that mixture right. And it's not always, like I said, it's not always going to be like 90% work, 10% belief. Like you may have a day where it's 1% belief and you're putting in that 99% work and it's dreadful. But you know, you're not going to be stuck on that mixture of those two things. It's going to constantly fluctuate and stuff. But the bottom line is that it's belief and work.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like the positive affirmations and like that's actually crucial. Like 100%. You have to have the right thoughts. You got to have the right like manifesting your desires. This book, which I'm going to bring up later, Asking Is Given, is like probably a super
spiritual, man.
Dude, like literally, I'm not even kidding. Like the thoughts and like the positivity, that is like so important. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, to get there though, it's hard to be positive unless you really feel that with yourself that you're like the shit. You got to work for that first, you know?
Yes. Okay. Since we're talking about like the spiritual stuff, no, like but you guys get what we're saying, right? There's like motivational stuff like that we've said before, like you can do this. You got to have belief and work, whatever. But then there is the practical, applicable, actionable things that you can do.
Yes.
Make a to-do list. Surround yourself with good people. Spend 1 hour each morning reading an article about your industry or whatever you want to gain a skill at. Those are like so there's two sides of the coin. I kind of have some things here that I'm just gonna go off. This should be like, if you're driving right now, you just had some Starbucks, you're trying to like hold in your shit on the way home so you can make it home from the commute, whatever, you're listening to the podcast, get your mind off it. Here's the ideological. Do you remember that Gary Vee episode with Scooter Braun when they gave the girl the internship?
Oh yeah, on the phone?
And Gary Vee's like, what do you want to do, Brooke?
Don't blow it, Brooke. Don't blow it.
Don't blow it, Brooke. And then she's like, I want to change the world. And Scooter goes, nice. And Gary's like, cut the ideological bullshit. What do you want to freaking do? She's like, okay, I want to be a marketing coordinator or whatever and like help brands reach their audience. Yeah, thank you.
It's like, that's your one shot, Brooke. Don't blow it.
I just think about that. Like that's like the ideological, like spiritual. That's our word, spiritual, versus like the applicable, like what tangible things do you want to accomplish, whatever.
Yeah.
So here's the deal, guys. You don't face your demons, even though you know that you have a bad trait. You know what version of yourself you want to become. You know what it takes to get there. You don't do it because you're afraid to commit and you're afraid of what others think. You're afraid of what others think. Maybe you're stuck in the past. Maybe you're still worried about what that girl from high school thinks who you're never going to talk to in the rest of your life. That's not like a personal thing or anything.
Scribble it out.
Yeah, I'm like, scribble out her name, delete her off Instagram. I'll get a DM one day. No. So you're afraid to commit. You're afraid of what others think. What do? Understand that anything worthwhile is going to take not only extreme hard work, but it's going to take change. Yep. You are going to be changing and iterating morphing. Morphing. Yes. Yeah, literally. You are going to be morphing your entire life. If you looked at me in the beginning of 2020, I had blonde hair. Okay,
Yeah.
I had blonde freaking
Yeah.
hair, and physically I looked different, and I had a completely different mindset. Like my mindset, my world view was completely different. I had to accept change,
Yep.
and accept that, hey, COVID-19 hit, and we had to cancel Ryan's school tour, which was a bummer. Halfway through, we had to cancel that. There was change. There was adversity that we had to face. So it's hard work and it's change. If you want your life to change, you got to change. So
Yeah.
all these people, and I like I said, I'm guilty of it too. Like I wanted to change over the past 3 weeks. I couldn't accept that change. I was afraid to commit. I was afraid of what other people thought. Anything worth doing is going to take, number one, extreme hard work, and number two, you have to accept that you're going to change. You are going to
Yeah.
change, okay?
And it's like change is inevitable. It is
Yes.
100% inevitable.
Ryan
Like,
has a beard now.
yeah, no, literally.
Okay? No, literally. He's got a freaking
Yeah.
beard.
But the cool thing about change is that you can use it to your advantage.
Yes.
Because this is where, so when the people that think like, okay, yo, hard work is, I don't want to work. Some people think like, I don't want to work so hard all these years and nothing happens. And I'm just like, it was not worth it and I wasted my time.
Yes.
You're not taking into consideration that things are morphing, things are changing, people are changing, groups are changing, jobs are changing, everything's changing. 10 years from now is going to look a whole lot different than today.
10 months from now.
10 months from now is going to
Yes.
look a whole lot different from today. But the thing is, through all that, you still have, I firmly believe you still have control of using that change to become who like you want to become. You have that power. Like, it's like when you look at people from high school or middle school and you see them nowadays, it's like you can see like the path they went on and they morphed. And now they're completely different. And this guy morphed. He's completely different. But their thoughts and their actions together made them into that person they are that day
Yes.
or that time period.
Yes.
And so you have control over who you become. Use time to your advantage. Use change to your advantage because things are inevitably going to morph. And so you're going to morph too. But that's going to give you the opportunity to morph into the person you want to be.
All bad change has a flip side, and all good change has a flip side.
Yeah.
COVID-19, here's a perfect example. It sucks that, well, of course, like people are dying and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not ignorant to that or whatever. I'm saying like from a business standpoint. So people are working remotely now, right? You're away from your team. Team morale may go down. You may not have as good of ideas when you're presenting to your team. You may feel less connected to them. You may feel less motivated because you're going into the office. Well, now you don't have to commute. For most people, for a lot of people who commute, like us, we live in Orange County, like everybody we know commutes to LA or whatever.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, well, the bad side of the change was, well, shit, now I'm not with my team anymore. I don't get to go into this nice office building where they have coffee, whatever. You have an hour or 2 hours extra to your day now. You wanted to get in shape, didn't you? Why don't you use that extra 2 hours to your advantage?
Yep.
That's just one example that I'm giving, right? I'm not saying that spans over every scenario or whatever, but that's just an example that I'm giving you that there's always a flip side of the coin to good change and bad change. And other good change is like, hey, just on the opposite end of that, hey, you're working from home now, great, but and you can get that time now. But the other flip side of it is, hey, you're not with your team. You don't get to go into that nice building every day and be there with looking your boss in the face or your supervisor or whatever and stuff. So there's a flip side to it. I want to leave you guys with one actionable thing really quick because I hate listening to podcasts where like, and I know, like, we've probably done this before, but it's like you don't leave with something actionable that you can do. Or like you go to a sales seminar or whatever. It's like, okay, what's something I can do tomorrow? Ryan already said it. I think the number one thing that you can do if you're trying to face your demon or whatever it is, maybe you know that you can get in shape or you know what you want to be, make a to-do list. I'm telling you guys. And it's going to be hard at first. You may not get everything done. I encourage you to type in on Google Andy Frisella, the power list. We've said it a bunch of times, but the number one thing that has helped me spark action is creating a to-do list with actionable, achievable steps. Today, my power list was number 1, go on a hike, because every day I try to exercise. So this morning I went on a 7-mile hike with Nico. Number 2, read a chapter of a book. That is my mental exercise. That's a bicep curl for my brain. Every single chapter that I read is a bicep curl for my brain. My dad said that, actually. I thought that was pretty cool. Number 3, edit the podcast. That's like the business entrepreneurial thing that I'm trying to get done. Number 4, I have to go home and practice some things on guitar because I love music. I love being a musician. I want to do that. And number 5 was I had to get some things done. I had to finish 3 assignments for my day job that I'm returning to my 3 clients today. So those are 5 actionable things. It's not like become a better music manager.
Yeah, they're not goals.
Exactly.
They're not goals.
They're not goals.
They're tasks. They are tasks that you can cross off. I literally did this, and boom.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Like if you're okay, let's say you're a stay-at-home mother, and every single night you cook dinner, or a stay-at-home father, or whatever you are, but you usually clean or cook or whatever it is, and you want to improve yourself as that stay-at-home individual. Your goal, for example, could be. There's a million things going through my head. I'm like, there's a lot of cool shit that you could do. But number one, I would just say like, okay, you want to up your dinner game or whatever because your significant other works very long hours and you want to cook them a nice dinner or whatever. Maybe your power list is find 10 new recipes that you will make for the next 10 days and write each of those 10 recipes down and begin making them tomorrow or something like that. Or another one is like, if you're a baseball player, I'm not super well versed in baseball, but maybe it could be wake up an hour earlier and throw 50 pitches.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Actionable things, whatever it is. So that's it.
And the key, I think one thing I realized too is like you got to put things down that don't rely on other people.
Yes.
Because if somebody doesn't come through for you, because the majority of people are not going to be on it.
Yeah.
You know? So if somebody's not on it and like coming through for you, then it's like, how am I supposed to do that task now? Because like I can't do it. I need them, you know? So it's got to be things you can do on your own.
Yes. Yes.
Unless you just have someone who's very reliable. Like if I put down do our podcast, I know you're going to come.
Yeah.
I know for a fact we're going to get it done.
Yeah.
So, just gauge that, you know?
Yeah. So there's your one tangible thing. So whether you're driving right now or you're lying on your bed staring at the ceiling listening, that'd be pretty cool. Whatever it is, whatever you want to do tomorrow.
But the thing is though, like about the power list, like if you really want those results, like go listen to Andy Frisella's podcast on it because he goes way more in depth on like exactly what to do. Don't do it your own way. Like you need to follow exactly what he says because there's subconscious things that he adds to it that just change everything about it. It's not just a to-do list where you could sometimes do it. Like you got to listen to his podcast and just do it. I think there's an episode on YouTube. It's literally called Andy Frisella, the Power List. It's like 5 minutes or whatever. Like just look that up and he'll tell you like all the details. But you know,
Andy Frisella is a self-made multimillionaire. I think his net worth is 250 million last time I checked, or something like that, something ridiculous. And he is the founder and CEO of First Form, which is a leading supplements company in the fitness industry. And he is like a beast of a man. His podcast used to be called MFCEO, which stood for motherfucking CEO. That's what they call him, the MF and CEO.
MCO project.
MFCEO project. Yeah. Then it got turned into a thing called Real AF. So all the episodes, if you go on Apple Podcasts or whatever, Real AF, type that in. We're going to start a new segment right now. Ryan and I read a ton of books, and we're each going to share something we read this week that was impactful. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Hit it.
So this book, it's funny because the majority of shit we talk about is like working, like work. But this is very thought-driven. This is very like manifesting. It's called Ask and It Is Given. Learning to manifest your desires. I saw this video where Big Sean was talking about like a bunch of books he read, and he mentioned this one, so I was like, I'm gonna try it out. And literally, I think this book, what it did is that a lot of little things clicked in my head about how things really work. And so this paragraph right here was very important to me. Once you relax into the idea that you will never cease to be, that new desires will constantly be born within you, that source will never stop answering your desires, and that your expansion is therefore eternal, and then you may begin to relax if in this moment there is something that you desire that has not yet come to fruition. And then it says, it is our desire for you to become one who is happy with that which you are and with that which you have, while at the same time being eager for more. That is the optimal creative vantage point, to stand on the brink of what is coming, feeling eager, optimistic, and anticipation with no feeling of impatience, doubt, or unworthiness. So the reason why I like this quote a lot is because we are all born as creators. We're all born as creators, and that we're we're gonna get spiritual. Okay. So
Hey man.
yeah, hey man. But literally the shit is real, dude. Like the universe responds to what you ask for. Now, it's not literally what you ask for. It's the way you feel about it. So like if let's say, okay, if I want to be a huge music artist, but I'm focused on the lack of my lack of ability right now for it. I focus on that lack of let me try to talk. I focus on the lack of it, then the universe responds saying like, "Oh, you want more, like you want more lack of it." If that makes sense. But if you visualize yourself as it already and you feel it, then you start attracting the right shit to become it. So that's what asking it is given is about, pretty much. Like your thoughts, like of what you think about, like the universe always gives you more of that. So you're always you're like your mind's like a magnet. You're always attracting the things that you're thinking about. But the reason why I like this quote the most is because it's literally about life is about abundance. Like I always thought that, oh, like I've been feeling so good for like this whole week, like I'm like shit must go wrong in the next week, because like I feel like that's just how it is. Like I'm not deserving to feel good all the time as a human. Like I feel like I have to go through tribulations, which is true, but at the same time it's like there's an excitement of knowing that life is about abundance and that you can feel good as much as you want. It's all in your thoughts. You can literally, it's like meditation, like it's all in your thoughts. You can control the way you feel and react about certain things. And the more you feel good, the more you attract good shit in your life. So that's something I realized, and that's my quote.
That's amazing. And I think that, well, number one, I think it's true.
Yeah.
And I think that what you focus on, the universe or God or Jesus or Allah or whatever you believe in, will give that back to you.
Yes.
Right. And I think if you're focusing completely on negativity, that's all you're going to see. It's like putting shades on. You can, I think I might have read it in this book, actually. You can either have your negative shades on or your positive shades. Don't they say something like that in this book?
Probably, yeah.
They say something like that. But yeah, I just think it's like, what's that called again?
Asking it is given.
Asking it is given. If you're constantly asking for negative stuff, it's going to be given.
Well, the whole point of the book too is like you're always asking every day. Like it's not like you're only asking sometimes and shit. Like your whole life you're asking every single day, like with your feelings and your thoughts.
Yeah.
Like if you're like if I'm jealous, right? If someone else is becoming successful, like someone blows up as a music artist, and I get jealous for that, I'm telling the universe right there as an ask, I don't want that. I don't want the success. Because I'm putting a negative connotation on it. But if I'm genuinely happy for that person, the universe will be like, oh, you like that? Okay, so we're going to give you more of that. Or God, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. But that's pretty much what it is. And so it's like you kind of control your own destiny in that way. You start attracting the things that you want. So that's why like visualization is so key too. Like if you can visualize in depth like what you want, exactly what you want, you're going to get it. You're going to get it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Want to hear mine?
Yes.
Okay. So I've been reading this book. It has to do with like relationships. It's pretty detailed. It's about this woman. It's called 50 Shades of Grey. And no, I'm just kidding. This book that I've been reading is The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, we should start a book club, dude. Why do I feel like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is like every book club's like
we literally
staple.
could, bro. We just read books every day. So
we'll just invite a couple people in here. It's like, so what was your favorite chapter? No, that'd be kind of dope. This book is called The Magic of Thinking Big, and Ryan actually loaned it to me. This is his copy. Thank you, Bearded Ryan. It's written by David J. Schwartz. PhD. Acquire the secrets of success. Achieve everything you've always wanted. Personal property, financial security, power and influence, the ideal job, satisfying relationships. It's pretty dope. It gives a lot of very practical, applicable things that you could just go off and do to make yourself more successful, and it ultimately helps you think big, which is dope. Here's a little a quote that I read that I thought was pretty dope. Once again, oh my gosh, this has to do with making a list again. This is a sign. If you're this far into the episode and you're listening, go make a damn list. Okay. Yeah. Here's a special technique guaranteed to help you. use a pencil and paper. A simple pencil is the greatest concentration tool money can buy. If I had to choose between an ultra fancy, deeply carpeted, beautifully decorated, soundproof office and a pencil and paper, I'd choose the pencil and paper every time. With a pencil and paper, you can tie your mind to a problem. When you write a thought on a paper, your full attention is automatically focused on that thought. That's because the mind is not designed to think one thought and write another at the same time. And when you write on paper, you, quote, write on your mind too. Tests prove conclusively that you remember something much longer and much more exactly if you write the thought on paper. And once you master the pencil and paper technique for concentration, you can think in noisy or other distracting situations. When you want to think, start writing or doodling or diagramming. It's an excellent way to move your spirit. That could not be more true. Mm-hmm. The reason is Ryan and I write down our goals. You actually hooked me up on this. You and Rob actually put me on to like whiteboards and writing things down. So like Ryan and I, like we're creative people. Mm-hmm. So anytime I get an idea or whatever, there's like 50 million other ones and like stars and all these crazy things going through my head, you know? So it helps me, like he said in the book, to really focus in, because you can't write one thing and like think a million other things. So writing down my goals on a whiteboard, I went on OfferUp and got like a school whiteboard that you would find at a school or a college or whatever, and I went to the Dollar Tree next to my house and got some markers, and I write everything down now, and that is something that has really helped me. And even if you're just kind of doodling or effing around, I'll write something down like 4 times in a row differently or whatever, and I'll erase it, whatever. But just being able to literally take what's on my mind and put it into a physical thing that I can see completely helps me really understand what I'm thinking and come to new conclusions. And also, I think it's different than punching it into your smartphone. For some reason, like for me, writing things down in my power list, drawing on my whiteboard, whatever, helps me retain information better than just like typing it into my phone. So that's just an applicable, tangible thing that you could do that I thought was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I 100% agree with that. I think that it's almost like, I feel like that's what meditation is. Like the whole idea is that your thoughts can only focus on one thing at a time. Mm-hmm. So when you start meditating, you just focus on your breath. Yes. And anytime your mind wanders, you just try to go back to that breath. Mm-hmm. Because your mind can only do one thing at a time. Mm-hmm. So I think that's...
How often do you meditate?
Every morning.
How long?
So what I do is I put on this like 15-minute like meditation music type thing. Not guided. No.
Okay.
Just music. And like the first 5 minutes, I'll just literally just focus in on my breath. Mm-hmm. And just once I'm like in a zone and calm, then I start visualizing. And I start like just visualizing positive shit, what I want. Not the things that I don't want. I visualize what I want. Mm. You know, like the kind of girl I want. I visualize who I want to be as an artist. I visualize how I want to look. I visualize what my house is going to look like, all that kind of shit. So that ties in with the asking it is given type thing too. Mm-hmm. Like when you visualize like that, you're literally asking, I want these things.
Yes.
And you'll get it.
Wow.
So
I'm going to try that. I have this app called Mindspace.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Headspace.
Headspace, yeah.
Mindspace, man. Mind freak. Chris Angel. Who did those vocals? Did he do that?
I'm pretty sure it was him. Yeah.
That's hard, bro. That's hard. Mindspace, yeah. I used that app, Headspace, for a while, and then it was like $70 for the subscription, and it expired. And I was like, $70? I'm gonna just go on YouTube.
Shit, yeah.
Whatever, yeah. But yeah, meditation is. I think it's important to like sit down and like face yourself and think your thoughts. Like it's so easy to just like smoke some weed or like pick up a bottle or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do that.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to sit down and face the inner workings of your mind. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true, dude. Yeah. Like I make and it really like I'm a very visual person. So like when my mind is going in a million different directions, I'm imagining colors in my head going a million different ways. And after I meditate or whatever, I imagine each of those colors is lined up. And there's like a perfect rainbow in my head.
Like you're more in control of it.
Exactly. Like the engine isn't sputtering and like whatever, you know, the engine is working perfectly.
But it's weird. I feel like you got to be in the right like space in your life to do it. Like, cause I think I tried it like 4 years ago, and I just like it didn't work for me. It made me very anxious actually. Like, cause I was scared of my mind at that time. You know, like I was scared that if I let my mind wander like that it would just like I would just start thinking bad and like, and I was getting anxiety and shit from it. Damn. But nowadays, going back to the work thing, I believe in myself a lot more now.
Yes.
I'm very confident in myself nowadays, and I'm just happy in general. So I feel like allowing my mind to do that is like a whole different experience nowadays.
I think most things get easier with time.
Yeah.
I mean, like life almost for me has just gotten easier with time. And it's still hard. Like life is still tough a lot of the times, but it's just like I've matured. I've been able to slow things down in my head a lot. And like I think things just get easier with time, like the meditation, like come back to things, you know, like
I feel like things start clicking.
Yeah,
over time.
Yeah.
You know, like even like in the music industry, like I'm like, oh, like this isn't actually what I thought. Like, oh, like these kind of people aren't actually like mean or whatever it is. Like you, like things start clicking, and I think like that just builds your confidence too, and like, and also it gives you like a peace of mind just knowing, because I think that a lot of times the music industry or even life is very smoke and mirrors, especially when you're becoming an adult. It's like you're like fearful because you don't know like how things actually work and how people work and how, you know, the mind works and everything.
How do I do my taxes?
Yeah, for real. TurboTax. But I think, yeah, you're right. Like I think the older you get, like things start clicking and things get easier in a way. But I think they get easier because you're getting mentally tougher.
And I think they get easier when you take things more seriously.
Yes.
You know, like anything that you don't take seriously, like might be kind of difficult because you're just not putting in the work to educate yourself on it or whatever it is. You know, like if I didn't go and research the lighting, we got new lights and new mic stands and stuff. I'm like super stoked about that. New tripods for the phones and stuff. Like if I didn't research and put in the work and be serious about like how to set our levels, like what the LUFS is for Apple Podcasts, like where should your light go, where should my light go, should we use the ring light, like do our screens time out? Like if I didn't take it seriously, we would have gotten here and it probably would have been hard because we would have met all these problems and stuff. So I think taking things seriously helps
100%.
But that's where you gotta then divide it, like what is worth taking seriously, you know?
Yeah.
Like what should I be taking seriously? So that may be a conversation for another episode. But
well, I mean, just briefly off that question, like I think that it just comes down to like, what do you want? Like specifically, what do you want? And then just like take that serious and focus in on that.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like I realize like when you focus in on what you want, it spreads to other things in your life.
Okay.
Like so, all the confidence you get, all the belief you get, all the good thoughts you get, everything you learn from it, it all spreads to other aspects in your life, your personal life, your relationships, you know. So it's like a blessing to like find that purpose and that focus of like what you love, and going in on that, and everything you learn just spreads towards the rest of your life, and then and it affects others, and it's just it's just like a beautiful thing to me. I don't know, like like reading this book too, like I feel like I'm starting to find the beauty in things, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever you want to say.
Wow.
But literally like how like life is just like beautiful in that way.
Is, yeah.
You know, like when you get someone who just focuses in on their purpose and, you know, creates or whatever they do, and just literally impacts people. And like just thinking that in a deep spiritual way is just like amazing. Like it's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff, my guy. Hey, for everybody listening, if you have any questions or whatever, you can hit us up on Instagram. I kind of forget to like throw that out there. So Ryan's at Ryan Ramirez official. Mine is at JACXB Moore, MOORE, M like Matthew, Jacob Moore with an X. And if you like want to be on the podcast, or you know someone who fits the rhetoric and everything that we're talking about, like a professional or a person or a successful guru, I don't know, whatever, hit us up. You can also email me if anyone has any inquiries for business stuff or anything like that. Jacob at density M as in Matthew, GM as in Matthew, T.com. Jacob at densitymgmt.com. Also, let's just plug it all, dude. Hey, check out Ryan's SoundCloud.
Go listen to my album.
Yeah, no, go listen to Double R Part 1. Double R Part 2, Ryan's next project, is going to drop probably within the next month or so. He has exclusive music only on SoundCloud that are his SoundCloud releases. I think they're all bangers. I tell him daily to put it all on Spotify. You can head to densitymgmt.com to see my management website that I built on Squarespace from the bottom. Ryan's bio is on their portfolio. It's kind of like an EPK electronic press kit on there. There's a contact form and all that stuff. And what What else we got?
Oh, my music's not only on SoundCloud too. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple
yeah,
Music.
yeah. Sorry, I
Deezer.
didn't clarify that. Yeah, Deezer. No,
Yeah,
it's on
Amazon
Spotify,
Music.
Apple Music, all that. But
Yeah.
he has releases
Extra
that
songs
are
on SoundCloud.
extra songs on SoundCloud that are kind of like unreleased cool stuff. So check that out. But episode 12, baby, we just killed that. Hey,
What's up?
good stuff,
You
man.
and Variety. I'm trying to decide from the look in your eyes, yeah, yeah. I made my signs, but your feelings inside you. I'm messing up my mind and my spirit, babe.